Shalom Yasharallah, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you, I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick. It's going to be a short lesson, but dealing with, and this is something I really didn't want to talk about, but I mean, you keep hearing people talk about this more and more and more and more. And I just happen to see this here article, which sums it all up perfectly. All right. It says U.S. accused of waging information war. All right. And this is more or less what I summed this whole thing up to. We'll read this here article, but I just want to speak on it a little bit, and because you have like, not to say fake woke people, because, that's not really the vibes that I get off of these people that are speaking about these things, but it's more or less to say, people that are, not to say 1 foot in the game, 1 foot out of the game, but just people that are, somewhat hearing the news, all right, and just passing by and things like that. And, that's like how sheep are. Sheep are they need a guidance, they need leadership and things like that. So, when I hear people talking about these things, especially people that are trying to learn the truth and things like that and learn about some of these things and, waking up to this, I'm not speaking about brothers in the truth that, are out there teaching or anything like that. Just speaking about people that are not even some of these other YouTubers that are, report on news and things like that. Not speaking about them. Just speaking about, your everyday people that are, somewhat watching the news, talking about this and talking about that and all these different things that's going on, and I have to have this here conversation about, and maybe Lord's will, I'll make a video on this as well too, about some of the damn food that man, they getting buck wild out here with this food. But anyway, not to go too far off topic, but on this here topic, people are talking about this Chinese balloon and and I hear them repeating the same so-called news narratives, which I hadn't been watching the mainstream media news, the American mainstream media news about this Chinese balloon. So, I hadn't been, how do I say, it's not like those, how you call it, those talking points have been hit into my ears. So, I knew about the story, but it wasn't from the mainstream media news that I found out about this story. But listening to them, I already know what the narrative of what the mainstream media news is. They just talking about this balloon, China, they're spying, all these different things. And then you see how, as they shot this thing down, I believe it was a F-16 that they shot it down with. Hang on, let me see. A F-22 that they shot this here thing down with. And they showed it on the news, which I seen the news clip of that, them going up there shooting it down and everything else like that. And I was just like, wow, really? They had to go up there and shoot this thing down with a fighter jet, and then they televised it. Like, this is like a big ass show that they're putting on. All right. And what's the point and the purpose of this here show? Well, we know how America likes to play, or go into the war front. All right. They always go into the war front as the victim. Right. They always go into there with the woe is me spirit. They're like that little kid. You have two kids, and one kid goes in there and slaps the other kid. And the other kid goes and retaliate. And the kid that got retaliated on comes running, mommy, daddy, so-and-so hit me. Like, well, then they get into trouble. The other kid get in trouble, not realizing that the other kid was just reacting to what they was doing. This is America's style of their warfare and them doing their things, man. So you have to understand about this. And, people get caught up, and again, and the people that, that are trying to learn this truth and everything, I have to coach them through some of this here stuff. Like, look, man, don't get caught up into that BS, man, that propaganda and fear mongering about, oh, the Chinese, and they doing all this. And I'm like, motherfucker, it's a balloon. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if they really wanted to spy on you with the balloon, just put it in this term. If they wanted to spy on you with the balloon, they sent the balloon over a nuclear base, right? They spent all this money trying to be incognito and everything else like that. Now they're going to fly the balloon over the nuclear base. What's stopping the wind? All right, just nature, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Blowing the balloon off course. Right as we got the camera right there and seeing the secrets we need to see, now get blown off course. This whole time, money, and effort that we spent was all down the drain because of a goddamn gulf of wind blowing it off to the side. Right? Like, oh shit, now we got blown off course. Like, that would take a lot of time, effort, and energy just to everything to go off course just because the wind's blowing, right? And plus it's slow. I mean, you're gonna see it coming up on you. It's not like it's, you know what I'm saying? You can kind of fly at a higher altitude or a lower altitude to not be seen, fly incognito, like, Russia, or not Russia, China has planes. You know that, right? We not back in the, like, before World War One, even in World War One and World War Two, they had planes. That they're not flying balloons like that for military purposes, like in that sense no more, right? You do realize that. You do realize they have drones, right? you do realize that they have satellites in space that they can just zoom down on Earth, right? You know how like you can go into your what is it, Google Earth or Google Maps or whatever it is, and you can zoom down on any place on the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying, and see what kind of images you have going on. Now, if you can do that as a civilian, right now, you're not getting a real live updated feed when you do it on your little Google Earth or Google Maps or whatever it is when you zoom in, but you can get a still shot. That's the civilian purpose of that. Don't you think the military purpose of that, which they didn't have that shit for at least 50 years before you got it, don't you think that they can see that off rip? It's like, bro, that's not what the fuck. That's not really no threat to nobody, but whatever. But they're going to use this as a so-called point because remember the Taiwan situation, right? You know, just like people started catching on with the Taiwan situation, like, wait, this is the same game plan as the Ukraine situation. You don't hear too much of that talking to the news no more, right? Because people are catching on to it. Just like the same thing with them trying to push these things through with the Ukraine, people are starting to catch on, so they have to pump the brakes and rework these so like it rework these agendas that they're pushing. All right, because hey, you know, Esau tried to push his things through, but if they don't have the right propaganda to go along with it, they'll go back and reshape and try to do it again. All right, but hey, with this here situation, man, you know, this isn't a scenario where you should be so-called afraid of this here scenario, man. All right, you know, it'd be different. You know, obviously, hey, China and Russia always have spy planes flying around America. They're not really tripping over that. All right, they out in international waters. They have ships out there. Russia always have ships out around the Alpha and international water around America. They have submarines out there. This has been going on for since World War II. All right, every single day they have these things out there, man. All right, you have people like, they talk about North Korea and their situation. North Korea has 2 satellites that fly over the United States every single day. You see what I'm saying? So, like, for the things that they have you sold on, that this is such a fear thing, like, other countries do this same shit. And they got way worse things. Like, Russia got submarines, nuclear powered or nuclear armed submarines, all right, that are out, off the coast of America year round, right? Like, they armed and ready to go year round off the coast of America. They have battleships out there as well, too. All right. You have, I was watching a brother video talking about how they have these battleships out there off in Hawaii and things like that. Like, well, in reality, they always have them out there, man. All right. China and the spy planes and stuff like that come flying over. America does the same to them on a day-to-day basis. So, and even when you speak about those things, like on paper, that sounds like, oh, there's a threat. They got nuclear power submarines out there. They got warships out there. They got spy planes out there. Yeah, that shit sound like a real goddamn threat. But when you realize about how long that shit's been out there, how long they've been doing that, it's like, well, shit, they've been out there for like the last 20 or so years doing the same thing. They ain't popped off yet. So, I mean, and plus America doing the same to these other nations. You know what I'm saying? This is, I guess, just the cost of doing business, right? But the fact that it's a balloon is nothing more than a propaganda. So we're going to briefly read through this here article. But this is the priming of the American population. You have to understand what the move they're telegraphing, all right? It says the U.S. is accused of waging information war. It says Beijing has lashed out at Washington over its irresponsible response to the spy balloon incident. Washington claims of an airship, and this is another way I knew of the propaganda, the type of words that they use to trigger certain things, right? Esau has a way of doing certain things to trigger emotions into people. Now, hopefully they don't take this video down for what I'm about to tell you about this, but I remember there was a point in time where I got summoned to go to court for jury duty, right? And I went there and everything else like that, and I didn't want to be a part of it. But once I heard the damn story, you know what I'm saying, I was like, oh, this is some BS right here, man. All right, I need way more detailed information. Don't give me no broad ass statement because you liable to just be playing with people's emotions. And they had this guy that was on trial, and the way that they had it worded was like this dude was basically being charged with having sex with a person over the age of 13. Now, the triggering thing is, when they say the age 13, you automatically assume that he having sex with some little minor or something like that. Well, when you really technically, if she's over 13, she could be 56 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's over 13. 97 years old is over 13. 21 is over 13, But once they said that, you know what I'm saying, and all these different things, they was talking about how, basically this dude that took advantage of this chick, you know what I'm saying? But, part of the charges was that. And then also the fact of the main point was the fact that he had sex with a person that was over the age of 13. And that got up into everybody's, under their skin. And when they was going around asking the people if they could be a proper juror for this, some of the people were breaking down. Some of these old ladies was breaking down, crying. This is horrible. This guy's a monster. Some guy was up there like, I can't imagine what kind of pervert would do this. I got grandkids that are this age and everything else like that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, they never told you how old the girl was. They just said that she was over the age of 13. And y'all are already, because they said over the age of 13, you already have in your mind that this is a child. Like, why not just ask how old the person was? You know what I'm saying? And what the relationship with this person was. Long story short, I didn't partake into the trial, but after the fact, looking in the newspaper, hearing about the trial, and actually working with somebody who was related to these people, right? Come to find out that there was a girl and a guy. They was in a relationship together, all right? And they were both over the age of 21, right? And come to find out, she wound up making up the story and lying on the dude the whole way anyway. And she wound up losing the trial because of her inconsistencies in her stories. They basically found out with the evidence she was presenting that she was wound up lying. So long story short, you know what I'm saying? This person could have went to jail all based off of people's emotions, right? Emotions of the trigger word of over the age of 13. So going back to this here article, when it says Washington claims that an airship surveillance system, all right, when they kept using the word airship, you thinking of a goddamn motorized, some type of flying plane or something like that, not no goddamn weather balloon. And when you put it in the context like that, like, bro, it's 2023, bro. Like I said, go to your Google Maps and zoom the fuck in. If you can do that in your civilian application, what you think the military can do with they shit? You see what I'm saying? Now they got a system called the Argus system where they have drones flying up really high up in the air. They can zoom down and read the data off of a dime on the ground. And you worried about a goddamn weather balloon, right? You're not gonna see the drone up in the air. It's so high up in the air, you're not gonna see it. But the weather balloon, all right, you know what I'm saying? That you can't turn, you can't like, oh, we got to catch up to this. We see something over there. We got to zoom into that. We need to move here. We need to move there. Like, bro, it's just a goddamn free flying balloon, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like they have all kind of other technology that would really fit this here bill, right? But they tell you, they use the word airship. You think it's something similar. It might be a plane or something, this and that, a big spying vehicle or whatever. Bro, it's a fucking balloon. All right, and everybody got their panties in a bunch over these things. But guess what? The sentiment that's in the back of their mind. China's spying on us. China want to go to war with us. China want to beef with us. When in reality, America want to beef with China, man. Don't get it twisted, man. Don't forget about how China or America's trying to steal Taiwan from China, put their people up over there. China, America trying to steal the resources out of the South China Sea, where China hasn't built up their own little islands, the Spratly Islands and things like that. China built that up in their own territory, and then they got America disputing over the territorial claims over that shit. Like, bro, it's not yours. It's in the South China Sea off the coast of China, and China built it up. The hell y'all talking about? But yet and see, most Americans aren't going to be listening about these type of stories. They're not watching the news or really digging deep into these things to find out about these things. They just listen to the mainstream media news. Now they all in a frenzy over this goddamn balloon, man. I done heard all these people talking about oh no, they need to shoot that down. They shouldn't have that. They got to shoot that down. They got to do this. They got to do that. Like, you don't want to just flying off course. It could get sucked into an airplane engine and cause the plane to go down, but that's not malicious. That's just a fucking accident, man. I mean, there's a difference between, you driving down the interstate and somebody done dropped the goddamn couch or a sofa or, had a blowout and piece of tires in the road or something. There's a complete difference. Yeah, that can cause an accident, can kill people. There's a huge difference between that falling off in the road on the interstate and somebody goddamn leaving a bomb in the middle of the interstate and blowing cars up. There's a nefarious a reason for doing one thing, and one is just like the fucking accident. Some shit fell off the back of my truck and it just landed in an interstate, and somebody had a car accident. My bad. I didn't mean for it to happen, but shit, somebody got hurt, but it wasn't intentional, man. All right. But this here article, I'm gonna read through it real quick. It says Washington claims that an airship surveillance system are nothing but information. Washington's claims of an airship surveillance systems are nothing more but information warfare, Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Mao Ning said on Thursday. An unmanned balloon flight over the U.S. and its subsequent downing last week has intensified tension between the U.S. and China. Mao said that accusing Beijing of running a network of spy airships, again, there's that word again, airships, for the unlearned people reading these articles or hearing the news, people talk about these things saying airship. They might not even have seen the news long enough to see it was a balloon. You tell them like, yo, you know what that airship they're talking about is a fucking balloon, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like if you was to let go balloons or this and that, and it just so happened to make it all the way over there, it's not like it was a nefarious reason for those things, man. And we can say the same thing. You can have a birthday party with some balloons and everything, and at the end of the party you let the balloons go in the air, and then your neighbors down the block, way down the block, see some balloons coming. Oh, I think somebody's trying to bomb us. They got these spy balloons. No, nigga, we just let the balloons go and they just so happen to fly out that way. We don't know where the fuck they landed at, man. All right. It says the diplomat added, everyone knows which country has the largest spy and monitoring system, with America. The statement came after the Pentagon claimed the downed airship was part of a larger Chinese surveillance balloon program. This network was going on for several years, Brigadier General Pat Ryan said during a briefing on Wednesday. Now, a lot of times, doing some research before this whole balloon situation happened, but a lot of times they actually do use these balloons, all right, to lift, satellites into what you would think of as space. But it's the satellites that are flying in what you think of as space is in Earth's upper orbit, all right, which is still pretty much inside of Earth, but it's just up in the upper orbit where you can actually float around it. You know what I'm saying? You start orbiting at that point in time, man. All right, now you can go and you can look for proof of this. I mean, you can look that up in your own, how they put some of these satellites up. They don't use rockets all the time to put satellites up into space. All right, and come to find out, 9 times out of 10, the majority of them actually probably put up there by the balloons. It's a lot cheaper to do it that way, man. You don't really use no fuel. You use fuel, but not the same type of fuel, right? But when you go back, I believe it was a Red Bull thing back in the days where this dude did the little jump from what they call the edge of space. All right, he took basically a balloon all the way on up, and then he jumped from there. And like a skydiver would, he jumped from there. But the way he got all the way up there, all right, was just by taking a balloon. All right, but like I said, you can go and you look up how they put these satellites into space sometimes, and they use these balloons. So that could have been the point of what they were trying to do with this, whether it be a weather balloon or GPS balloon or whatever it is, or satellite, Slovakia, whatever type of satellite could have been, or monitoring system could have been on there. They could have use that to put it into space, and it just went and blown off course. But nevertheless, continuing on, because the point I'm trying to make is it wouldn't make no sense to you try to spy over America using goddamn balloons like that. That's old, outdated technology. All right, but nevertheless, it says where we get White House spokeswoman Karen Jean-Pierre said that on the same day that China had a fleet of balloons developed to conduct surveillance operations, which they have also violated the sovereignty of other countries. And again, that's in a vague, stance. Surveillance operations, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, motherfucker, we put satellites up into space for surveillance. You know what I'm saying? We surveilling our own spot. We just need to be up in orbit, but it just didn't make it over there, all right? But it says Mao has insisted that the balloon was a civilian weather research airship that had veered off course and that Beijing had communicated its peaceful nature to Washington. Last week, the diplomat similarly said that the U.S. was deliberately hyping up the matter. And again, for the propaganda of the American population, because the American population is not used to being the aggressor when it comes to war. All right. They're always used to being on the defensive side. Tell me a war that you could think of in the past, whatever, that America went into war saying, hey, we about to go fuck these niggas up. Every war that you can remember that America has been in has always started out like this. We got to go over there to help some people. We got to go over there to liberate some people. These people are monsters over there. We got to go over there to help some people, man. Saddam Hussein got weapons of mass destruction. We got to go over there and help the Iraqi people. You know what I'm saying? Syria's got some terrorist groups over there. We got to go and help the government's trying to kill them. We got to go over there and help these people. So this is what you've been hearing. Ukraine, Russia's trying to help destroy them. We got to go over there and help these people. None of these wars are being sold as America's being the aggressor. So same thing here, man. Remember, they trying to go to war with China as well. All right. It says a Chinese unmanned airship was seen flying across the continental U.S. last week. The Pentagon immediately said that China was most certainly using it to gather intelligence. The spy balloon scandal caused the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to cancel his planned visit to China. Last week, the U.S. sent an F-22 fighter jet to destroy the balloon with the missile strike as it drifted off the course of South Carolina. Beijing called the decision an unacceptable and irresponsible reaction. Now, again, going into that, why use a missile and the money that you would use to use a missile when that same plane got machine guns on there, you could have just shot the goddamn balloon and then it would have just fell out of the sky. You see what I'm saying? But, hey, we need a bigger scare tactic. We need a bigger push for an emergency, right? Let's jump into this. Habakkuk 2:5 says, yea, also because he transgresses by wand. He is a proud man and neither keepeth at home. So like I was saying, man, when was the last time you heard of America mounting up and going somewhere else, bringing war to somewhere else off the tip of, hey, we on that rah-rah shit. We on that aggressor shit. We just want to go over there and fuck y'all niggas up type of shit. We finna go and invade y'all because we on that type of shit. No, America don't move like that. America moves like it says, because he transgresses by wand. All right, he go and get you drunk, get you sauced up type of thing. And then he goes and feeds you his philosophies, his doctrines. In this case, it will be, oh, China's spying on us. China's this, China's that, and so on and so forth. Just like with Ukraine. Oh, Russia's preparing to invade Ukraine. Russia's doing this and Russia's doing that. Always painting the other person. Saddam Hussein got weapons of mass destruction. All right. Bashar al-Assad is killing his own people. See, they always have a pretext of the other person doing some wicked shit, and that America has to go over there and be the savior. All right, when they show up to this here thing. Now in this scenario, oh, we got to save our people. We got to be the savior of our people. Show our people we're on the defensive. We're not going to let these people. And guess what? Like I said, I see how this. This was a mission accomplished because even listening to the people talk about it on the radio and everything, and they just they got to shoot that down. Why didn't they been shoot that down? They got to shoot this. They're like, bro, y'all don't realize what the fuck y'all really getting yourselves into over here, man. All right, because China could look at this as an act of aggression. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to go and send a fighter jet to go shoot this down in that matter. They could be like, oh, well, they want to wage war with us. All right, we about to go wage war on them. Now all you Americans is over here with your big bravado, beating your chest and everything. Got to sit there with that woe is me spirit because now these nations is coming to come fuck y'all up because y'all messing up their equipment. All right. Now what if it was the other way around? What if America had some of their American military equipment, all right, on the other side of the globe and everything, and China or Russia say, hey, y'all getting too close to our border, we gonna have to shoot it down. We got to shoot down your drone, your balloon, your plane, your boat because it's on our sovereign territory, and hey, it's a threat to us. We got to go and blow it up. What do you think the American population would do? Oh, fuck that. We going to war, bro. They shot down our plane. They shot down our weather balloon. They shot down our satellite. They shot down our ship. They shot down our submarine. Even though we over there, so what? We wasn't bothering y'all with it. Y'all shouldn't have shot us down. Hey, America would be ready to go up in the war. So this is the same way that they're using this here tactic. This, like it says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine. All right, this is how they use that to get up into your territory for a territorial dispute. All right. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. All right. And just going into the point of, transgressing by their Babylonian juice, that wine, man. All right. This is how they have the people caught up in the sauce. All right. This is nothing more than, 9 times out of 10. Now, it could be a nefarious meaning behind this, but I doubt that would be the vehicle or the device that they would use for this here purpose. Like I said, man, go on your Google Earth and zoom into China, man. You can zoom all the way in on the ground level of all of that. If you can do that as a civilian, think about what they can do militarily, man. Look up the Argus system, all right, and see how they use these damn drones and zoom in and read the data off of a dime, all right? They got all kind of damn technology to achieve the same damn thing. When the fuck was the last time you heard about them since modern day planes, drones, any of this shit that came around that the fuck they gonna use a weather balloon or a balloon, not to call it a weather balloon, but a balloon to come over there and surveil you with, man. All right. But like I said, you can also go and look up how they put some satellites into space, whether they be GPS satellites, weather satellites, or all these different types of satellites up into orbit using these types of balloons. All right. Now, again, because it's really unmanned, uncontrollable, it's easy for it to get caught up in a gust of wind and get blown off, of course, man. All right. But nevertheless, let's continue on. Let's go over here to the book of Job. And this is part of their so-called information war, man. All right. Let me see. This is Job 18:7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. And, we bring this out a lot because a lot of the moves that America makes is bringing up, is how you say backfiring into their own face, man. All right. So what are you over here doing? Prepping your people to have that sentiment towards China, propagating these things up against them, making them out to be the bad guy when they ain't doing nothing to you, man. All right. Now, hey, look, this would be suicide for China. But what happens if China was to say, you know what? Y'all like to put sanctions on everybody else. Y'all like to do a lot of fuck shit. We finna sanction y'all and cut y'all off of trade, man. All right. In a time where food price, everything is going up here in America. America get 90% of its shit from China. Now, all of a sudden, you got sanctions on China, got sanctions on America for shooting down a balloon. America would starve. And China would starve too because they got to be able to sell their shit to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And we're their biggest buyer of all their goods. All right. But nevertheless, hey, that would cripple America, man. All right. But yet, think about the relationship status between America and China over things like this, man. All right. Shooting down a balloon probably wasn't even a big deal. China probably was like, thanks. It was a rogue balloon. It's saving us from the gas. And y'all is going over there. Hey, I need you to go ahead and take this down. It's coming your way. Hey, can you handle that for me? It's down on that end anyway, man. All right, the equivalent to this is being, look, man, I done left my computer on at work, or I done left some documents on a desk at work, and I was supposed to throw it away or something like that. I done left the job. I'm already at my house. I'm an hour away. I call back up to the office. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, I need to throw these documents away. All right. The difference would be is like, hey, man, I need to call up to the office. and tell old Jim Bob, hey, Jim, can you do me a favor, turn my computer off, or can you throw those documents away for me to save me from having to go and how do I say, spin the gas to get back out there? Sure, no problem. Now you gonna help me out for getting rid of this here shit. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, China probably wouldn't even have been mad about it. But the fact of the matter that you had to sit over here and propagate some stuff, all right, you at the job, oh, so-and-so done left these here classified information on the thing, and this is like, no, it ain't classified information. I left my my son's school supply list on the goddamn desk. That's the papers that I left. I didn't leave no confidential papers out on the desk. I left my son's school supply list or his essay paper out or something like that. It's like, you can throw it away. It ain't no big deal. It's not nothing secret or nothing like that. But since you want to go to the boss and tell the boss I've been leaving classified information out and everything, trying to get me fired, now I see that as an act of aggression. Now, if you would have just thrown the paper away, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But because you went to the boss and tried to get me fired over it and getting them to have a bad taste in their mouth about me, well, that's completely different. And this is exactly what the Chinese is accusing America of this information war, man. Propagating these things up against, the American population, man. All right. But it says the steps of his strength are straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. He is cast into a net by his own feet, and walketh upon a snare. All right. The gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. And there's another scripture to talk about, roughly paraphrasing about their wise men and everything else like that. All right. Coming to naught. All right. But hey, they used to be able to get away with a lot of this propaganda and lies and things like that. But now it's not working so easily for them, man. All right. Now they're getting caught up with a lot of these things. Now they're being we could have read this in Habakkuk, but how, they like to steal a lot of people's shit and plunder a lot of people's shit. Now, sooner or later, these people are going to wake up and bite them. That vex them. All right. Sooner or later, these people are going to wake up to all these things. But now you're having these scenarios coming out where these other nations, for one, the propaganda ain't sticking like it's supposed to. These other nations are calling them out. They're being exposed for the wickedness that they're actually out there doing. All right. So it's not really looking so well for them, man. All right. Like I said, hey, man, y'all had to shoot down the damn fighter jet or shoot down the balloon using a fighter jet and a missile and not just a machine gun off of that. Or y'all couldn't use, some other type of method to get rid of their balloon. Or y'all couldn't have just kept it under wraps because they said under Donald Trump, they had multiple balloons fly over and nobody found out about it up until now. Wasn't that big of a deal. All right. But now making it a big deal because, wow, they trying to go wage war up against Russia. All right. It says terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. See, you got issues with China. You got issues with Russia. You got issues with your own allies. You have issues here at home, man. All right. You got issues everywhere around you, man. All right. It says his strength shall be hunger bitten and destruction shall be ready at his side. And it shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. All right. Ultimately, it's going to bring him into World War III, which is going to lead to those missiles going off. But like the scripture say, in the midst of World War III, all right, the Lord is going to come back and fight against these damn Edomites, man. All right. But this is only bringing you to your end that much more quicker, man. All right. And I can read this as well, too. But going into, warring with 2 Ezra 16:1. It says, woe be unto Babylon and Asia. Woe unto Egypt and Syria. Gird yourselves with cloth of sack and hair and bewail your children. Be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. So at the end all be all this is going down the drain, man. All right. It says a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench fire in the stubble when it has begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot from a strong archer? It says the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? All right. And so, hey, well, let me keep reading on down. I mean, I can keep reading on down, but the point was pretty much made. But let me read a couple more verses. It says, fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten into powder at his presence? All right. So, hey, ultimately, they're being brought into, their own demise. All right, they're being brought into an inevitable. And right now, there's no reversing the path of going into World War III. All right, it's like you've already started that slip and that fall. It's like a snowball falling from the top of a mountain. Once it start rolling down the damn mountain and start picking up, there's no turning back, man. At that point in time, the weight and everything is in motion. You can't turn it back, man. It's inevitable at that point in time. And that's where we are in the terms of World War III. All right, and hey, we at the point in time where prophecy has to be fulfilled, where Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. The prophecies have started to roll and take place, man. So the only thing left now is for, ultimately, is for the prophecies to be fulfilled and Esau to be taken up out of this here place, man. That's when the Lord's going to ultimately come back and take Esau out, man. But it's going to start with what? World War III. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And citation, much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.